Well, what's going on, people? Okay, so I just want to go over some stuff. This isn't really supposed to be a teach you anything about quadcopters or FPV or anything like that. It's just content I wanted to create and talk about some of the gear that I'm going to test out here, and kind of where I've been, where I'm going, and how things are going to work in my world. So, I've tried everything under the sun, right? I've been around for a long time. I took a break for many years, but I've been back for a couple now. This is going on year two that I'm back. So it's like a year and a half, year and three quarters, something like that I've been back flying daily. And things are coming along pretty quick. I'm a lot farther behind than I want to be. Building has never been a problem, but keeping up with all of these youngsters in racing, that is a big problem. And also all of these, amazing freestyle pilots too that are now out there. There used to be a handful. Now it's like everybody. These guys got like 8 subscribers and they are just destroying it. And then you got guys been around a long, long time that are long in the tooth, and they got 250, 300,000 subscribers. Not saying they didn't earn them, and they're not pivotal to what's going on, but this stuff has taken off and it's going quick. So I've been around since before Clean Flight. I've been around. It was base flight, right? And before that, it was like KK2 boards, and before that, it was hacking Wii controllers, stealing, the gyros and accelerometers and stuff out of Wii's and using breakout boards, and trying to step up the game after KK2. But anyways, I'm a longtime KISS fan. I like flying KISS. Hell, Betaflight flies fantastic too. But there's just something different the way KISS feels. And to me, KISS has always been kind of delicate. The ESCs went a lot and they weren't cheap. Good thing they were individuals, right? $25 you could get a new ESC or so. But now I'm going to ultras, and KISS Ultra, everyone knows, is basically impossible to get. And I don't want to go on a rant about this, but I paid quite a bit for Kisses. I build some quads for folks and sell them, and I build them for myself and sell them. Like, here, let's just set this to the side for a second, and I'll kind of show you some of the Kiss stuff that I have, that I've been playing with this stuff for a while now. So here's a Kiss Ultra build with Teco 32 metal, and it's on an Apex frame. It's got tracer and 25 millimeter motors, Mad Mushroom antenna, TBS, the 2 watt analog. It's the TBS HV Unify 32 Pro HV or some shit. I don't know. It's their most expensive one they got. And, it flies fantastic. I have had a problem with it where the OSD just goes off for no reason. It was working great. And then one day I landed, flat, and the some bitch OSD went out. So I unplugged, plugged back in. And ever since that, I've had intermittent OSD. I still fly it. I just put a timer on my radio and I land after 3.5, 4 minutes, and we still fly. But I haven't had a chance to figure that shit out, because I'll be quite honest, talking to those fellas in the Discord, because that's where, if you're in a KISS and you want to learn something about it, you have to read the wiki, right? And then after you've read the wiki, if you have any questions, you can go to the Facebook group, or you could go to the Discord, and you could get treated like a dog. It's not an open and friendly place that I've noticed, and I hate to badmouth anyone, because there are some great guys in there. I can name quite a few great guys, but some of the key players in there, the mods or whatever you want to call them, they kind of set the tone for the rest of these cult following type people that just pile on people. So if you ask a question, the first response will be, read the wiki. And then if you go read the wiki and you still got a question, it's like, read the wiki. It just gets irritating to be treated like that, especially for people that are new. So you fight hard to get a hold of an Ultra, then you get questions, you got to get beat down, then you get limited responses. And it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I'm not some new guy that has just come around the block. I've been around a while. And do I follow them every day? And do I live Kiss Ultra every day? No, I don't. But there's limited information. There's not like Bardwell content out there for every subject that you ever want to know about, like there is with Beta Flight. So you're going to have to, pay your dues with Kiss Ultra and kind of work with it and learn. Matter of fact, I think Bardwell just released a new build video with like a complete how-to on Ultra, which is going to be awesome for people. And it's going to make more people want Ultra, but they aren't there to get. And which leads me to my next problem is that if you want to pay extra for an Ultra, good luck, because they're not there. And the reason why they're not there is because the guy that builds them, Alex Fedorov, this Russian fella, I believe, he's like taking a personal mission to shut people down that want to sell their gear. He doesn't want anyone to sell anything above the price he's offering for. Forget supply and demand. If you want to sell it for a profit in the Discord or in the Facebook group, you're going to get kicked off and banned and ostracized. And he'll go out of his way. They police eBay, and he sicks the group of folks on the dudes in eBay. Like, so there's this dude in Japan that wanted to sell something. Not only, I'm sure that he got bad messages from everyone. He was messages that have gone out. Nobody buy this from this guy. Let him just eat it. And then Alex says he called and filed a report against the guy on eBay for selling or illegally or whatever he tried to do to the guy, which to me is total horseshit. All kinds of industries sell things for a fair market value. And what fair market value is what one person is willing to pay for an item from somebody else. It's supply and demand. People collect things. Certain things escalate in value. Some things devalue and aren't worth shit, right? Well, right now, these guys are hard to get, and I had 4 of them, and then I bought 3 more. So I had a total of 7 Ultras. I paid $250 for one of them, right? I paid $175 for one of them. Hell, I would pay up to $250 for one of the little minis because I have a project that I want to build with Ultra, and you can't get them because they even set rules on how you can sell them. So you're a vendor and you get a shipment of 200 of them, and the rule is I will only let you sell these flight controllers if you put a limit of 1 on them, right? So 45 seconds later, they're all gone, regardless of how they're sold, and you can't get them, right? Some big batch is going to... See, the guy, he does it as a hobby, quote unquote, and he doesn't want to mass produce them. He doesn't want to partner with a big electronics manufacturer and sell a licensing agreement to them and let them build them. He wants to build them in his kitchen or his garage or whatever and sell them individually. And that's why they're impossible to get, and they fly great. His code is fantastic. I'm not taking anything away from the guy. The guy's got talent. I've built flight controllers from scratch myself. Was it a 6-layer board? No, it wasn't a 6-layer board. This shit was 10 years ago, man. But this stuff is not magic. There's standards in how things are done. And with solder paste and components in a pick and place machine, this shit is not that hard. Okay? The coding is where the talent comes in, right? And Alex is a fantastic coder. The guy has reworked Kiss into something that flies different than everything else. And you can't really describe what it is. It just feels better. I just like the way Kiss flies. So this is a Kiss build on a Schizo. There's a Kiss Apex that I showed you. This is an Ultra, right? And then my Kiss V2 builds. This was a... what the hell is this thing? I think this is an Alien. Yeah, this is an Alien. And it flies the V2 board. And it's got the old Alien PDB. And, it is what it is, right? So I've been flying this stuff for a while. And so, like, here's an X-Hover Stingy. Like the first little slam frames that came out. X-Hover Stingy frame. And this is a Kiss V2. This thing flies amazing. Zing motors. These are like 35 bucks a piece. You know, I've never shied away from spending money on stuff that I want. You know, this is probably the cheapest hobby that I've ever had. This is the V1 Kiss with the Triumph, old Foxeer. I love Foxeer, I've always have. And, you know, this stuff, the SC died, so now it's down. BFD, right? You just got to keep fixing this shit or park it and build the next one. So that's what I'm doing right here is we're going to be doing a Foxeer build. This is what I consider the new modern Apex. And the reason why I even have this frame is by mistake. I wanted to buy this frame first, right? And they're all named Aurora. So I saw Libby Tang put up a listing for this in Facebook and a link. So I clicked the link and, you know, it serves up all the different prices from the different vendors. And I saw it for sale at Pyro Drone. So I bought it. And I didn't pay much attention. I just paid attention to the name, Aurora, Foxeer Aurora. And this came in. You know, I painted it gray or whatever to match the gray TPU. But then I ordered this one directly from Foxeer, right? So when I got this thing reminded me a lot of the Apex, right? The Apex is an amazing frame, you know, and Mr. Steele and those guys at Impulse, they've done a lot of work on it. You know, this one's quite a bit different, the way the bottom plate's set up. The bottom plate goes all the way across the bottom where the Apex stops, and it has like two half plates. The middle plate is a half plate that goes to the rear, and the bottom is a half plate that goes forward. And then they use that as the X plate to hold everything. Whereas the way Foxeer did it, they do a complete top plate, front to back, complete bottom plate, front to back, and then they use an X plate to sandwich the arms down. And other than that, it's really similar. I think I like the way this looks better than the Apex. It's got 5.5mm arms. The way the channels come on the Apex for the wire covers, you know, they kind of flare out at the motor. And I kind of like this one that double face tapes and sticks to the frame, right? I just like the way this sets up. Now, I'm not going to be able to use this rear TPU. I'm going to have to make a new one. This is more set up for like an analog setup, because like all of the new, that's like an SMA connector, right? Goes there and bolts down. Well, the old Vistas used to have an SMA type connector. On the Rush FPV antennas had this little sleeve that slipped over the antenna, but now they just come with the little UFL antenna that doesn't have a lock. And I don't know this brand, right? But I think it's a knockoff of a true RC. You know, I remember ordering some of these guys and I didn't have great luck with them. I like VAS antennas. Those are fantastic. And I like the true RC Canadian made antennas, which are the same as the Axie antennas. So I might just swap this for an Axie and just put a little surface mount on the back here. I don't know exactly how we're going to do that yet. The difference between, I'm sure a lot of you already know, the difference between a full-size Vista is the Vista has a receiver built in, and you can use the remote, the whole DJI remote system to work with it. Comes with two antennas and DVR built in, where the Vista, the new Nebula Pro kits, the Vistas, they come with the same frame rate as the original DJI. It's smaller, it doesn't have the DVR built in, and it also doesn't have the receiver built in. So it's a lot lighter, but you can still get the same kind of performance out of this guy because it's got the good camera as far as the frame rate's concerned. I don't know how the lens stacks up, how the picture stacks up, but I know I really like the hell out of the way DJI looks through the goggles. So we're going to be doing an Ultra build with it. And with the Ultra, we're going to be using, if you haven't seen an Ultra, this is what it looks like. Looks just like the old KISS boards. It's got that H-shaped board. Let's see if this thing pops open like this. I wish that they would have put all of the connectors on one face so you could slam your builds further. So when I say the connectors, right here, they've got these little plastic connectors that you can plug in different things. And the bottom one is what you plug in for your ESC, your 4-in-1 ESC. So basically now you have the thickness of that connector spaced you away from the board. Instead of just being like a gummy or a nut thickness, now you've got to space for this guy so this can sit flat in there. So we're going to be using the KISS Ultra. This is what everybody's fighting for. Ultra. All right, so let's put that back in the bag, keep it protected. And then I like the way you don't have to use the 4 KISS ESCs anymore, and that has the BL Heli pass-through ability if you get the ESC that has that, and you can hook a D-Shot BL Heli 32 ESC. This happens to be from Holy Bro, Teco 32 metal. It's got metal FETs. I just like the way it looks, and it worked good, and I don't mind paying for something that I like. But it's just a really nice looking ESC. You have to be careful and repin the connector so your ESC signal, power, and all that stuff, your motor signals match up to your KISS Ultra. And one thing that I don't like about this compared to a lot of the other ESCs that I've used, like for example, hell, it doesn't even matter. I'm not going to give you an example. A lot of them have holes drilled for the cap to just drop through. Well, the way they designed this on the back, there's components right there where they would have drilled through. I guess you could drill through and make it wider than the holes, but it's just as easy to slip the cap right into the holes and do that. But with the holes, if you can get a hole tight in the middle, you can keep these leads close together, push it down close and just bend it back and protect the leads really easily. Because if you short across those caps, you're going to short the power to the ground on the ESC. I don't know how easy that is to do, but anywhere you can protect your main power lead connections and isolate them from shorting, that's a good thing. So also with the Vista, you have to have a receiver. And I've been playing a lot with ELRS. Like I've been using Crossfire, and then I started using Tracer, and I have a Mambo, and I have the Tango 2, and I like those radios. But I like the TX16S, the Eachine one, with the ELRS. Now I've tried several ELRS modules, the Betaflight one, which is the white one, and then Betaflight came out with a new limited edition 1 watt right here. It's kind of got like a matte finish. It's pretty nice. They call it the micro module. It's got dip switches on the back. And I'm thinking about going with that because not only does it match the radio, it's 1 watt now, so I could have the power if I needed it. But this one here is pretty good as well. This is the Naminmo ELRS module. It's also a micro module. It's got the battery connections in the bottom and stuff. And I just haven't decided which gear I would like to use the most, and then I'll get rid of the rest. As far as the receivers are concerned, if you guys follow, it's Blunty and Bardwell, you know, they talk about ELRS a lot. And some of these companies, they come out with gear before it's been like vetted. When I say vetted, before the devs and stuff from ELRS get a chance to play with them and work out any bugs. And this company here, the JHE MCU, is one of those companies that has some bugs or something that need to be dealt with, so we're not going to consider those. Naminmo, they make good gear that's all vetted, and this little guy here is pretty cool. I considered using this one on some of my race builds. This is actually considered their racer version. It's got the little ceramic antenna. These things are like as big as my pinky fingernail, and so that's a pretty good one to consider. I think it's the EP1 from Naminmo. But then they came out with these little flat antennas from Betaflight. So I started trying to play with those, and they work pretty good. Now, they don't have the type of gain. When I say gain, I mean the amount of sensitivity for radio frequency transmission. So they're not as efficient, they don't transmit as much or receive as well when you use a lower gain antenna. But these little flat antennas, they're kind of neat because those ceramic antennas on those, like that Naminmo one, this has the same gain as that, but it's flat. It won't break off as easy, and you can tuck that away pretty simple. So I thought about testing that. I'm not trying to fly long range, and if I crank it up to 1 watt on the module, this thing ought to be able to pick up the signal pretty well, and I could just tuck this away, and I can get rid of this connector altogether for the receiver. I can just do away with any external receiver antenna. So I think I'm going to go that route. I'm going to be trying this Beta FPV flat receiver. But I tell you what, the Happy Model EP1 RX, it's tiny, and it comes with 2 length antennas for you. And when I bought these, they were like $10 or $11, and it's hard to beat those, you know, considering with all my tracer stuff and all of the long range 900 megahertz stuff from TBS, it's like $30 for all that, you know. And I'm trying not to spend $30 for receivers when I can get stuff cheaper. And see that big ass antenna? I mean, that looks like ass. You know it, I know it. It looks terrible. And the way I feel is I want my builds to be clean, look cool, and perform well. And if I can use modern stuff to do that, I will. So my analog builds are probably going to all go to digital here this year. And I'll be getting rid of and selling all the stuff that I don't want before it has zero value. You know, whereas just a year ago, this Stingy was like, maybe a little over a year and a half ago, this V2 Kiss analog to me was like cutting edge stuff, you know, and it flies fantastic, but it's long in the tooth. How much is it worth now? I don't have a clue, you know, not worth much as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't pay more than maybe $350 for something like that. But the components to build that are way more than $350. So you can't replace it for $350, but in the used market, it is what it is. So it may just become a wall hanger. And just remember. So that's all I wanted to go over with was the differences between the new Foxeer Aurora. I wish they would do their names different, because this is considered an Aurora and this is considered an Aurora. What the hell? And they got a whole other generation of Auroras. Apex came out with one that's a dead cat, and it's still called an Apex, so I guess that's okay. But this is a Freestyle. This is, I don't know, cinematic. It's named all kinds of stuff. Cinematic Racing Freestyle Aurora, and this is just the Freestyle. But these are the latest versions of the Foxeer stuff. And I look forward to flying them and having a good time. I'm going to use this just for like cinematic stuff because the props aren't in the way. You know, and the crazy thing, you would think that you'd be able to fit 6-inch arms on it, because 6-inch arms fit no problem on these front arms. It's these back arms at an angle that the props hit. So the biggest you can get is a 5-inch. Now 7-inch, if you get the arm back here somewhere, you could put your 6-inch props on. And I may order some 6-inch arms and run 6-inch on this, because I got lower KV motors. I'm running 2207.5 at 1700 KV on 6S, which I think that KV could run a 6-inch prop without, if you don't just hammer into it constantly all day long, it shouldn't be a problem as far as amperage draw is concerned with modern 4-in-1 ESCs. So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening to me. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about on this. With this Freestyle Aurora, the way they sell it to you is they want you to put a nut going through the arm. And to me, that's not good. You want to use these little nutserts. So order you a bag of nutserts on Amazon. There's the model number. It's they're M3. This is a X00241HC2N. Little nutserts, which are on like all the frames that I've ever built have nutserts. Even their Freestyle uses nutserts. But on this, I'm sorry, the Dead Cat Aurora uses nutserts to hold the arms in place. On this one, they sent it with no nutserts and just regular lock nuts. So forget that. Just get you some nutserts and put them in there, and you'll be good to go. All right, guys. Hope y'all are having a good weekend, what's left of it. Also, these are the new Foxeer motors, 2207.5, 1900 kV. These things ought to rip. They ought to be real well. I think they're trying to compete with what's going on with these guys. Although these Imperial motors, they fly really well. I have seen some people get in crashes and bust the base of the motor and then delaminate the top from the bottom because they are not unibell. And this is a 1870 kV. So it's a higher kV than most of the older 6S motors, but it's not like the ones coming out from, say, the Evan Turner motors, which are 1900 some kV. These are 1960 kV. And some of my brother hobbies are 1980 kV. So the higher kV was awesome. You may have to turn your throttle curve down a little bit or put a tune on the throttle to bring down the throttle potentially, the potential of the throttle so it doesn't overspin your props. You'll know when you hear it. It makes this weird ringing noise. So it breaks the sound barrier and tries to go beyond that. And then when you like do a maneuver like a flip or a roll, when you're under power, you'll hear the prop flex and it gives this weird humming ring kind of noise. And it's very distinctive. And once you hear it, you'll realize that you are overspeeding the prop and it's flexing and giving you a noise that's telling you, hey, you're pushing me too hard. So that's just something to consider. Maybe a stiffer prop or bring your throttle back a little bit on the throttle limit in Betaflight or inside the throttle of your radio. That's how everything used to be done, inside the radio. Now it's done digitally at the flight controller. So my rambling is now over. I'm sure I've made some enemies of those guys over at KISS, and that wasn't my intention. I just feel the way I feel, and I'm going to just say it how I feel. I'm not going to pull punches. So if you guys like this stuff and you want to see more, you want to hear more of this crap from me, just say something in the comments, and I'll make more videos. All right, well, take care, guys. We'll see you soon.